dear ones. Today our gospel is, like always, very apropos to us in our day that we live in. And also our epistle. So first, we have this very serious and rather sobering gospel where you see Jesus talking to giving his disciples this lesson and giving this parable, and he says there was a man whose field and his lands produced much. He produced very much. And in his heart he thought, well, what am I going to do? I don't have anywhere to store this. And so he says he'll tear these barns down. In the story, he tears the barns down, he builds bigger ones to store it in there, and then this happens. Then he goes to sleep one night, and God says to him, "You fool, tonight your soul is demanded of you." And see, it's not so much that he built and worked the ground and built barns, but it was that his life was all about himself. So I just want to make a very quick point at the beginning. We see this rich man, and according to the gospel commentator that we heard last night, it's not so much whether somebody's rich or somebody is not rich. It's not the riches that affect him and where he will be with God. It's his attitude. It's his attitude. And what we have today is actually we have in our country a whole bunch of very poor people, but because technology has advanced so much, they live like rich people. So they're not saying to themselves, oh, I'll tear down my barns, oh, I'll build bigger ones and store this up, and I'll take advantage of the poor people. They just sit around and do what he did, which was, it said that he ate, drank, and was merry, and says, I have all these good things. But nowadays, even our poor people just sit around and they watch TV and they waste time on social media, and they're not busy about the things of God or even about their soul. Well, obviously this is the same thing, but about the things of this world, like working, even getting a little safety net for themselves, a safety folder, so that if something happens or car breaks down or whatever, they can fix it. Not even that. So the poor people, a lot of the poor people are just in the same place as this rich man. They're doing things that satisfy their pleasures, and it's not going to go well. Let me read this passage that was in the epistle today, and it says this. Therefore verse 9. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all manner of goodness, righteousness, and truth. Discern, dear ones, what is well-pleasing to the Lord. Here's the key. Have no fellowship with the vain works of darkness. That means don't talk to them, don't be with them, don't obviously do them. But rather expose them for what they are. It is a shame even to speak about the things which these people do in secret. But all things are revealed when they are exposed in light. Oh, dear ones, listen to this. Don't have fellowship with those things, but rather expose them. But actually, he says, they're so shameful, we don't even want to speak about them. But these things will be exposed that these people do in secret. All things will be revealed and exposed when they are exposed to the light. Now, dear ones, this is very frightening because we may be doing these things. What are in our thoughts? What is in our heart? What are our actions? What are we doing? How do we live our life? Therefore it is said, this is our call. Awake, you sleeper, arise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. Therefore, watch carefully how you live, not as unwise, but as wise people, making good use of your time, because the days are evil. Do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is. Do not get drunk with wine. This is reckless living, but be filled with the Spirit. Speak to one another in psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs, singing and chanting to the Lord in your hearts, and always giving thanks to God. Now, dear ones, what is very scary about this passage is we're going to stand before God. If you remember the passage in 1 Peter, it says, if the world is judged and is judged at this standard, then Peter says, what will it mean for those in the house of God? Scarcely, well, no, I'm saying it backwards. He said, if the righteous are scarcely saved, what will this mean for those outside of the church? So in the church, dear ones, we're going to be judged for the things that we do, for how we live. Are we living our life to fill our comfort? Are we living to live our life to have pleasure and joy and ease and comfort and all of these things? I have a friend who just died a week ago yesterday. I went to his funeral this last week. He's a friend of mine. When I was a Protestant, he worked for me for 7 years. And he is younger than me. And he just died. I mean, this man was not one that took medicine, like he was not a pharmacologist. He was a healthy guy. He knew herbs, he took care of himself. I mean, he was a strong, healthy man with a lot of children. And he just died one morning. I had a son who got in a car wreck this last summer, and he just died. Don't think, dear ones, that death will only come when you are old. If you know that you have something in your life that you need to get dealt with and to deal with, I urge you, do whatever you can. I know people that have left off everything in the whole world and just went out to the woods, if you will, for 3 months and didn't do anything but picked rocks and got tossed around. That was the only thing that they could do to save their soul. They were willing to do it because they knew that if they didn't, what would happen to them if something happened like these 2 other cases that I told you? It would be lost. So don't find yourself saying, I can't make it without this, or I can't make it without this. I'm telling you, you can and you must. Whatever it is in your life. If you have bad habits of being, let's say, rebellious to your husband, do whatever you can to begin to curb that. If you have a bad habit of being rude and unkind and harsh to your wife, you better figure out how to stop that. You children, if you don't know how to honor and respect your parents, you need to definitely start figuring out, how can I take a command, even if I don't like it, absorb it, and just bow and say, let it be blessed. These things we need to start doing. Then the more yucky and nefarious things. There's all sorts of things that only God knows that we might be thinking or doing or so forth. So, I just lay this out to you as a watchman. Just like this parable that Jesus said. His point was very clear. Death will come to you when you do not know. And how foolish we will think if we did not turn away from the sin that we had because we just thought that we could not get rid of it because of this or that thing. Or that I was not willing to work. Or that I just had to have this pleasure. Or I just wasn't able or willing to give somebody something that I knew that God wanted me to give. Whatever it is for any of you. Whatever it is for me. Let us be diligent, dear ones. Life is but a flash. You're here today. You will be gone tomorrow. I remember clearly things that happened 25 years ago. Just like they were, not like yesterday, 25 years, more like 20 years ago. Really, it seems like, wow, did that already happen? How in the world could my nephew Silas be a tall man now? He was just a baby. And he's here living at my house. And he's like a big man. This is what I mean. You too, you young parents, your baby is here. They'll be grown up before you know it. So do your diligence. Do just diligence. I was reading through the Shepherd of Hermas last night. I was debating whether to use it today in this homily, and I just thought it'd be better to use it later. But I encourage you to read it. I was reading in the Similitudes. If you want to help you yourself understand the real danger that you're in, go ahead and turn to the last book and read the Similitudes. And it will show you the very real thing of your life. You do not want to end up being a stone in the building being the church. You do not want to be a stone that the master comes by with his staff and taps on, and the plaster of your life falls off, and you're found to be a rotten stone that's mildewy, that's taken out of the tower of the church and thrown away. So I just lay this before your feet, dear ones. Whether it's riches, whether it's pleasure, whether it's comfort, whether it's ease, whether it's a bad habit, whether you're unkind, whether you're too nice to say what you should say, there's not just one thing. We all need to work on these things. But if you're humble and you cry to God, have mercy on me, and then you do what this woman says, and this is how I wanted to end this. You see, after the first temple was destroyed, the Ark of the Covenant was stolen. I don't know if you knew this or not. And after that, when they built the second temple, the Shekinah glory did not come back into the temple until the second temple, until the little Theotokos came to the temple when she was 3, and then she went in. And the church calls her the Holy of Holies. Why? And they call her the Ark of the Covenant. Why? Because through her came the Shekinah glory, which is Christ our God. And he shines in our hearts. And he will heal us. But he's not just going to heal you. You have to be like this dear lady in the second gospel reading who had the issue in her life, and she could not be healed by anybody or anything. The only thing that healed her was her going to Jesus. She worked to be healed. So God is not just going to instantly heal you of whatever passion you have. You have to work at it, and you have to go and you have to cling to the hem of Christ if you want the healing that he will bring. So, dear ones, go and work and cling to the hem of Christ. May God be glorified now and ever and unto the ages of ages. Amen.